Hey, what's going on? Luke here. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs and their prospects for 2024 and going forward. I kind of just wanted to do a video talking about whether the Dogs will actually improve in 2024. Because I just watched BKR's video, I watched a few other people's video talking about the Bulldogs, and it seems to be either a little bit of a meme at this point, where it's either the Bulldogs are going to win the comp or we're going to be, near the bottom of the table. And I kind of just wanted to sort of give my thoughts and opinions, and at some point I will do a video going over all the signings, give my ratings and that sort of stuff. But this one I'm sort of just going to be speaking from the heart and sort of just talking of what sort of comes from my mind as I'm going, rather than pre-preparing and going, I want to hit this point, I want to hit this point, I want to talk about this. Kind of just going to talk about the Dogs in general in 2024. Now obviously it's been a very, very disappointing, I was going to say last 10 years, but roughly the last 10 years. Ever since sort of the Hasler back end, moving on to the rest of the years. But essentially it's been disappointing year after disappointing year. A little bit of hope at different points, especially back ends of seasons. Didn't get that in 2023, so I feel like that sort of, it tends to make you think going into 2024, a little bit, down on the side, at least for like your general viewers. Now, what I sort of mean by that is that in previous years, the Bulldogs have always, they've always sort of come good towards the last back end of the season, where the season means absolutely nothing. Get a few big scalps and a few big wins. You go into the next season going, oh man, if they can just replicate that at the start of the season, could be anything. Last year actually started off quite decent, and then obviously injuries happened and it went to shit. And the thing that I want to point out is the fact that, the injuries, they do matter. It obviously does matter. Look at any team who wins a comp, they always get there, and a lot of the times you hear players say it comes down to who's the healthiest side who ends up winning a comp. Bulldogs, definitely not the healthiest side in 2023, and I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough in terms of the actual performance overall throughout the year. When we did have a full strength side, we actually worked quite good at the start of the season. Obviously, we've gained a few players, lost a few players. Big talking point would be Stephen Crichton. Big talking point as well for me and for a lot of people is Matt Burton and what's his position. Seen a lot of people start speculating, we signed Drew Hutchison, we have Toby Sexton, we have a few of those guys. And now they want to move a guy who has the potential to be a New South Wales 5'8", an Australian 5'8", in my opinion. He has a high ceiling, super high ceiling. He's obviously the strongest part of Matt Burton's game. When he does it is his running game, so I understand, and obviously he's already won a premiership at centre. He's played for Australia in the centre position as well. But yeah, like for me, his strongest asset is obviously his running game, but also his bomb. And you put him in the centres, and it's just not the same. And people trying to judge Matt Burton, they look at him, and let's just keep in mind, when Bulldogs signed him, he was a reserve grade player, right? He was playing reserve grade. He wasn't some superstar for Penrith. He was playing reserve grade. He was behind Jerome the Wire, and he still was when he ended up moving to the Dogs. They tried to keep him to come play in the centres. Obviously didn't happen. He's been sort of very outspoken about the fact that he wants to play 5'8". In what world, Cameron Serrato, who has come through with Penrith ranks 2 in terms of coaching, has watched Matt Burton. He's coached him for the last couple of years. He put him into like the captaincy sort of role in terms of leaderships. Matt Burton has had nothing to work with. Let's be real. Who was his first pass through? Jade Knockenball? Jade Knockenball was starting second row last year. I think that should be said in terms of the depth that the Bulldogs had last year. And I know it's a huge joke at this point. Again, it's like a bit of a meme in terms of the Bulldogs with all the utilities and that sort of stuff. But for once, the Dogs actually have some depth. If people go down injured, we actually have some backups. You look at the caliber of their first 17. Is it the strongest in the comp? Absolutely not. Is it the worst in the comp? Absolutely not. And there's also some players who could be some hidden little gems. See, Bronson Xerri is someone who's coming back. Either he could shit the bed, he really could, or he could be absolutely amazing, could be just bog average. We don't know. But at his best, he's definitely a first grade centre. We saw that. It's obviously years on. I don't expect him to come out and absolutely destroy or anything, but he is capable. We've got Jarrell Skelton as well. In the wings as well, waiting. And that's, I think, what's nice about the Bulldogs is we've actually got a lot of depth. And, Blake Taaffe. We're looking at a guy like Blake Taaffe, who when we signed him, I immediately went, yep, he's going to be in the starting side somewhere. And now, as we sort of go into 2024, sort of, on the brink of the preseason, and I'm going, I don't really know where Blake Taaffe plays. Like, do you play Stephen Crichton in the centres? immediately when he signed, it was he's going to play fullback. But the more things have gone on, the more it's sort of become a little bit more confusing as to where he's going to play, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I know you kind of want to rubber stamp your side and be like, all right, this is my spine, this is where everyone plays. That's ideal, obviously. But at the same time, considering, this year we're having the debate of, is it going to be Connor Tracy, Stephen Crichton, or is it going to be Blake Taaffe? Blake Taaffe's played in the grand final as well. Connor Tracy's very experienced at the Sharks. And when he did play fullback, looked quite good. Can play in the centres as well, play wing, play in the halves too. He's super versatile. The thing that is interesting in that regard is that last year we had Hayes Perham, who I think was terrible. Honestly, I genuinely think he was terrible for the side. I know he tried his best. He tried his guts out. Effort wasn't the problem. He made lots of meters and that sort of stuff. But just in terms of last year compared to this year, I mean, last year was talking about Reid Marnie having his worst year. And it's just, again, not much to work with. So many chances that I feel like we could have had. Imagine it's Stephen Crichton on the end of it and not Hayes Perham. That's what I mean. That's where I feel like not enough. Like in one way, it's kind of Stephen Crichton. Obviously, he gets his flowers a lot for being a great centre, and even when he played fullback, he was okay there too. But at the same time, I don't think we're sort of comparing it. Like even if Stephen Crichton isn't some amazing fullback, he's still going to be better than what we had. And that goes for Blake Taaffe as well. It goes for Connor Tracy. He's going to be better. They're going to be better than what we already had. And I know Jack Averillo, even when he went there, Jack Averillo by no means is some superstar fullback. When he went there, we looked a million times better. And I think that kind of says it all. And yeah, I am quite disappointed that we are losing Averillo. But obviously, you can't keep everybody. And that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles in terms of the NRL. Can't keep everybody. It would have been nice to have kept the junior. Obviously, Bulldogs fans are quite disappointed losing Jakey. But it just happens. You can't keep everybody. You're going to lose juniors at some point. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really see Averillo as someone who's going to be some absolute superstar of the game. I think he'll improve. I think he'd be very, very good. I think he's one of the best signings of the season in terms of the Dolphins. Him and Farnworth coming in. He's versatile as well, so he adds to that. In terms of Origin with the hammer and that sort of stuff. He can play fullback. There's so many different options for Averillo. He can play in halves. I really like Averillo. We tried him so hard for years and years and years. And we finally get the best results in he leaves. I think, it does say something about the Bulldogs, but at the same time, like I said, Stephen Crichton comes in. So now all of a sudden, we're just adding little bits at a time. And, maybe where Matt Burton, where he would look at the back and he'd go, shit, it's Hayes Perham. And I've got Jaden Ockenboy outside of me and, our forward pack, like Luke Thompson barely even played throughout his whole career, let alone last year. Tavita Pengai was the same, he's gone. Where we're looking at some of these guys, we've got your Liam Knights now. We've got Kikau back healthy. Kikau didn't play a large part of last year. On the left, where he would normally go out there, who was he supposed to pass it to? Honestly, I know he had a great combination with Josh Addo-Carr, and, Averillo, and, he was swapping all over the joint. I think we're just trying to find out. Last year was a bit of a write-off. We're just trying to figure out, can Burton play halfback? Evidently, probably not. But can he be a good 5'8"? I think he can be absolutely incredible, and that's where it's crazy to me that people think moving him to the centres, especially when we actually have some centre coverage for the first time in years, you want to move him to the centres and weaken our halves. Burton as a 5'8" is still better to me than any of the other options that you want to chuck in the 5'8" position, which is just crazy. They're going, we want to weaken one position and also weaken another one. I don't quite understand that. Burton, for all of his flaws, obviously, he's not like some superstar 5'8" at the moment in terms of, he's going to carry a side. But he's still a good 5'8". He's still a very good 5'8", and he's still better than, I've seen people say, chuck Blake Taaffe in. Blake Taaffe himself said he's not even a 5'8". Connor Tracy barely plays there. Bailey Biondi-Odo's been injured. Drew Hutchison has been a fringy sort of guy. I think he's pretty good. I think he's more of a halfback. Him and Sexton, I think, fight it out rather than you chuck both of them in there and then put Burton in the centres. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But for me, I do think Bulldogs are moving in the right direction. The juniors are, going from strength to strength. I think it's weird because in previous years, I feel like the Bulldogs have been talked up too much, and then this year I feel like they're being talked down too much. I think there seems to be no middle ground with the Bulldogs. Either it's, yeah, no, we want to push for top 4, or we're coming last. I don't know, it just seems strange. And that's going into the season from year to year. So, but yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on the Bulldogs? Are they improving? Are they going to be much improved in 2024? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section below, because personally, I think they are going to be much improved. In terms of where they're going to finish, I think a top 8 is definitely realistic, honestly. The comp is so open at the moment, and even Penrith. I know a lot of people have picked Penrith to go 4 in a row. I know a lot of people have picked, Roosters to improve, Sharks to improve, Parramatta to be up there. That's how open it is. There's so many teams that could possibly win it. There's no clear cut. I mean, look at the Broncos. So strong last year, but they lose a lot of key players. So it doesn't take much to sort of, go from a bottom team to a top team. Broncos are a perfect example of that. So I don't think there's anything to say that the Bulldogs can't do it. I think people are looking at the history of it, and obviously, history doesn't look too good for the Bulldogs in terms of, previous years. But I do think we saw enough good signs last year. It kind of gets overlooked, and you forget how many injuries we really did have. So stay optimistic, Bulldogs fans. I know I saw BKR and he said it's kind of the club wants you to buy into it, and I do agree with that. Where they talk highly, they say this, next couple of years we're going to be fantastic, and those couple of years happen and they're not fantastic, and at some point you need to sort of jump off the wagon. But to me, I actually think we're actually progressing nicely, especially compared to some other clubs too. So I mean, look at the Tigers. They're also similar spots and been making signings, and they're throwing over $1 million at Jerome Luai. We've got Burton. Is there really too much of a difference? And the signing Coruscant's a good one. We got Reid Marnie. Coruscant's very aging as well. So it's just like two different clubs going in two different directions, in my opinion. I feel like Tigers are sort of, they're going the same. They're not really getting any better. They're just signing a lot of players, but they're not getting better. Whereas I think the Dogs, I don't necessarily look at the table. I'm looking at actual performance-wise and just overall squad-wise, and I think the Bulldogs are on the right direction for 2024. And I was going to wrap things up. You hopefully did enjoy that one. Hopefully it creates a little bit of discussion over the Bulldogs in 2024. Like I said, we'll do a video talking about them in general, going over all the signings and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to end things here. If you happen to enjoy this one, make sure you go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Stay tuned for all the streams, all that sort of stuff. Members, you're seeing it on the screen right now. Shout out to every single one of you guys who have stuck by me, especially when I wasn't uploading much. I was uploading a lot of EAFC and all that sort of stuff. Still think I'm going to upload a little bit of EAFC, but yeah, shout out to everybody who stuck by me. Also, speaking of members and super chats and all that sort of stuff, make sure you come to the streams as well. We're going to be trying to do a little bit more of that now that I'm back working day, so I have a little bit more time at night to be streaming. So stay tuned for that. And look, social media as well. It's on the screen. Can't forget that. Mr. Lick and YT, give me a follow, give me an ad, and I'll see you soon in the next one. See yous.